So, Vachu, thank you for joining. I hope you all are doing good. So, today we are going to start with a topic that is one person company. What is one person company? Let us start and see what is one person company. So, Vachu, one person company. What is a one person company? The new concept of one person company is a new form of business introduced by the Companies Act 2013, thereby enabling entrepreneurs carrying on the business in the sole proprietor form of business to enter into a corporate framework. One person company is a hybrid of sole proprietor and company form of business and has been provided with consequential and relaxed requirements under the Act. So, बच्चों, one person company is a company that has been formed just by one person. To form one person of company, we only require one person. So, बच्चों, this one person company is a combination of sole proprietor and company form of business. Because in sole proprietor there is only one person, one owner. In one person company also there is only one owner. It has all the features of company like limited liability, separate legal entity, and etc. So this is the concept of one person company. Features of one person company is one shareholder, nominee for shareholder, director. Features of one person company is only one shareholder is there, nominee for shareholder is there, and director. Now let us discuss this in detail. Only one shareholder. Only a natural person who is an Indian citizen and resident in India shall be eligible to incorporate a one person company. Only a natural person who is an Indian citizen and resident in India shall be eligible to incorporate a one person company. The term resident in India means one person who is stayed in India for a period not less than 182 days during the immediately preceding 1 year calendar. So, बच्चों, only a natural person who is an Indian citizen and resident in India shall be eligible to incorporate one person company. It means a foreign citizen or a person who is not a resident of India cannot form a one person company. The term resident in India means a person who has stayed in India for a period of not less than 182 days during the immediately preceding 1 year calendar. But to the person who has stayed in India for 182 days or more in the last previous year, in the last year, is known as resident in India. Nominee for the shareholder. The shareholder shall nominate another person who shall become the shareholders in case of death or incapacity of the original shareholder. So the shareholder shall nominate another person who shall become the shareholder in case of death or incapacity of the original shareholder. Such nominee shall give his or her consent and such consent for being appointed as the nominee for the sole shareholder. Only a natural person who is an Indian citizen and resident in India shall be nominee for the sole member of a one person company. So, बच्चों, the shareholder shall nominate one another person who will become the owner of the company, who will become the shareholder of the company in case of death or incapacity of the original shareholder. Like in bank also, the bank person says you to fill the form of nominee. So in case if you dies, then your nominee will get the money. Such nominee shall give his or her consent, and such consent are being appointed as the nominee for the shareholder. Only a natural person who is an Indian citizen and resident in India shall be nominee for the sole member of one person company. So बच्चों, the nominee will also be a person who is an Indian citizen or a resident in India. Director must have a minimum of one director. The sole shareholder can himself be the sole director. The company may have a maximum number of 15 directors. बच्चों, in one person company there should be minimum one director only, and that one director can be the sole shareholder also. The company, one person company can have maximum 15 directors. In one person company there can be maximum 15 directors. Terms and restriction of one person company. A company shall not be eligible to incorporate more than one person company or become nominee in more than one person company. बच्चों, a person is eligible only to incorporate one person company. A person cannot incorporate, cannot form more than one person company. And one person can become nominee of only one person company. One person can become only nominee of a one person company. Minor cannot become member or nominee of one person company. बच्चों, minor cannot become member or nominee of a one person company or can hold share with beneficial interest. A minor cannot become member or nominee of one person company. And one person company cannot be incorporated or converted into company under section 8 of the act. बच्चों, one person company cannot be incorporated or converted into a not for profit making company. Section 8 companies are not for profit making companies, and one person company cannot carry out not banking financial investment activities, including investment in security of any body corporate. बच्चों, one person company cannot carry non-banking financial investment activity. A one person company. Now, this is very important. A one person company cannot convert voluntarily into any other kind of company. It means a one person company cannot convert it into public company or private company. A one person company cannot be converted into public company or private company unless some conditions are there. If those conditions are fulfilled, then one person company can convert into public or private company. Question says that a one person company cannot convert it. A one person company cannot convert it into public or private company. But if some conditions are fulfilled, then one person company can convert it into public or private company. So a one person company cannot convert it into public or private company unless 2 years have been expired from the date of incorporation of one person company. Unless 2 years have been expired from the date of incorporation of one person company. बच्चों, a one person company can get converted into public or private company only if 2 years have been expired from the date of incorporation of that one person company. Suppose I started a one person company on 1st of Jan 2010. Now 2 years will finish on 1st of Jan 2012. So I can convert my one person company into public or private company only after 2 years have been expired from the date of incorporation of one person company. Except, except threshold limit is increased beyond 50 lakhs or its average annual turnover during the relevant period exceed 2 crore. बच्चों, if paid up share capital increases more than 50 lakh or turnover increases more than 2 crore, then one person company can get converted into public or private company. Now, बच्चों, this is saying that a one-person company cannot get converted into public company or private company unless 2 years have been expired from the date of incorporation of one-person company. Unless 2 years have been expired from the date of incorporation of one-person company. But but if the share capital, if the paid up share capital of one-person company increases beyond 50 lakh, then it can get converted into private or public company. Or if the turnover of one-person company increases beyond 2 crore, then it can get converted into public or private company. Step to incorporate one-person company. Step to incorporate one-person company. Number one, obtain digital signature certificate for the proposed directors. So you have to obtain digital signature certificate. Number two, obtain director identification number for the proposed directors. You have to obtain TIN number, that is director identification number. Like we all have PAN number, in one person company you require TIN number. Select suitable company name and make an application to the Ministry of Corporate Office for availability of the name. You have to select a suitable name for your company, and then you have to make an application to the Ministry of Corporate Office for availability of name. Draft MON AOU. You have to draft, you have to make memorandum of association and article of association. Sign and file various documents including MON AOA with the registrar of companies electronically. So you have to sign and file various documents including memorandum of association, article of association with the registrar of companies electronically. Payment of requisite fees to Ministry of Corporate Affairs and also stamp duty. You have to pay required fees to Ministry of Corporate Affairs, and you also have to pay stamp duty. Scrutiny of documents at registrar of company. You have to scrutinize the documents at registrar of company. Receipt of certificate of registration or incorporation from registrar of certificate. Advantages. Number one, separate legal entity. One person company is a separate legal entity and capable of doing everything that an entrepreneur would do. That's why I told you one person company is a combination of sole proprietor and company form of business. That's why this one person company is a separate legal entity. One person company is a separate legal entity capable of doing everything that an entrepreneur would do. Easy funding. Like private company, private company, one person company can raise funds through venture capital, financial institutions, angel investors, etc. One person company can raise funds, thus graduating itself to a private limited company. One person company get the funding very easily because it is a company form of business. More opportunities, limited liability. Since the liability of one person company is limited to the extent of the value of the share you hold, the individual could take more risk in business without affecting or suffering loss of personal asset. It is the encouragement to new, young, and innovative startups. But to more opportunities and limited liabilities, it means in one person company, liability of the shareholder is limited. Now, the shareholder can take more risk without having the fear that he will lose his personal assets. It is encouragement. It is an encouragement for new, young, and innovative startups. Minimum compliances. One person company have to face little compliance burden as compared to private limited company. Hence, One person company can more focus on other functional and core areas. So बच्चों, in one person company, the compliances is very limited, very minimum. Like in case of public and private company, compliances are very much. So in one person company, you can more focus on your work than meeting the compliances. Credit rating. The one person company with bad credit rating may even get the loan. Credit rating of one person company will not be material if the rating of one person company is as per norms. Benefits under income tax law. Any remuneration paid to the director will be allowed as deduction as per income tax law. Unlike proprietorship, other benefits of presumptive taxation are also available subject to Income Tax Act. Benefits of being a small scale industry. The one person company can avail the varied benefits provided to small scale industries like lower rate of interest on loan, easy funding from bank without depositing any security to a certain limit, manifold benefits under foreign trade policy and others. All these benefits can be borne by any business in initial years. The only owner, you, the only owner, helpful in quick decision making, controlling and help managing the business without following any elongated process and methodology as adopted in other companies, sense of belonging inspired to grow the business further. But you, in per person company, you are the only owner. You do not need to ask anything from anyone. That's why your decisions are very fast. Receive interest on any late payment. Receive interest on any late payment. One person company avails all the benefits under Enterprise Development Act 2006. The newly startup one person company is micro, small and medium, hence they are covered under the Act. As per the Act, if buyer or receiver receive any late payment, then he is entitled to receive interest which is there through the bank rate. So बच्चों one person company avails the benefit under Enterprise Development 2006. The newly startup one person company is a one person company can be which company? Which is a micro small company. If the buyer or receiver avail any late payment, then he is entitled to receive interest which is three times the bank rate. Increased trust and prestige. Any business entity that run in the form of company always enjoys an increased trust and prestige. But so any company which is running in the form of company will always win the trust of the company and they have a prestige in the market. Partnership firm versus one person company. But so in partnership firm, minimum two persons are required. In per person company, only per person is required. In partnership firm, it's a joint ownership. In one person company, it is a single ownership. In partnership firm, registration is not compulsory, but in one person company, registration is compulsory. In partnership firm, owner is not transferred, but in one person company, ownership is transferred. Partnership and firm both are same. Company and owner both are different. Partner and firm both are same, but company and owner both are different. Now I'm sharing another PPT with you. What is HUF? But to HUF is Hindu undivided family. For example, take example of Nitish. Now Nitish has a brother, mother and father. So Nitish, your brother, mother and father, you all four will be known as HUF, Hindu Undivided Family. It is obvious that a non-Hindu family cannot get this status. So a Parsi, Muslim or Christian family cannot create an HUF. But HUF is for Hindu undivided family. That's why Parsi, Muslim, Christian cannot create an HUF. So what is HUF? The term Hindu undivided family has not been defined under the Income Tax Act. It is defined under the Hindu law as family that consists of all the persons lineally ascendant from a common ancestor, including wife and married daughters. This means that a membership into a HUF does not come from a contract but from status under Hindu law. A HUF cannot be formed by a group of people who do not constitute a family. Lineal ascendance with a common ancestor is a must. Even though Jain and Sikh families are not governed by the Hindu law, they are still treated as HUF. So in HUF, there are two laws that is regulated. HUF is regulated by two laws: Dayabhaga and Mikshitra School of Law. Under Dayabhaga scheme, the father is the sole owner and the exclusive possessor of the joint family property. No member can enforce the partition of HUF so long as the father lives. So suppose in Upender's family there is Upender, brother of Upender, sister of Upender, mother and father. So as per Dayabaga system, the father of Mr. Upender will be the exclusive owner of the joint property of the family. Upender or his father, his brother or sister cannot demand for distribution of property as long as the father is alive. But But Mitaksha law stipulate that the property vests in the HOF itself and not in any individual member of the family. Therefore, can be partitioned with the lifetime of the father. So, बच्चों, as per Mitaksha law, the owner of property are all the members of the HOF. Any individual member of the family can demand for the partition of property of the family during the lifetime of father. Dayabaga law is prevalent only in West Bengal and Assam. So Dayabaga law is only prevalent in West Bengal and Assam. Rest of the country is governed by Mitaksha law. Hindus in rest of the country are governed by Mitaksha law. Formation of an HUF. How an HUF can be formed? The most frequently asked question about HUF is how does it come into beginning? To form a HUF, one has to do is get married. HUF gets created as soon as one person complete the seven circle around the holy fire and become husband and wife. There have to be minimum of two people to constitute a family. The husband and wife together make up a family. They do not have to wait till they have a baby to constitute the HUF. Suppose there is one person, Vinod, who do not have any brother, sister, mother or daughter. Vinod is alone. Now, as soon as Vinod will get married, Vinod will form an HUF. As soon as Vinod will get married, Vinod will automatically form a HUF. Vinod do not have to wait for a baby to constitute their HUF, Hindu undivided family. Can an unmarried form HUF? No. An unmarried cannot form HUF of which he seeks to be the Karta himself. He can very well be the member of HUF of his father or grandfather, but to create his own HUF, he has to wait till he gets married. So, Bacho, you can form an individual HUF only if you get married. A HUF consists of Karta, co-partners, and members. Karta is the oldest male member in the family. If he passes away, his wife cannot become the Karta. The eldest son the eldest son will take his place. If he chooses not to, he can give up his right and the next son in his line can take his place. So, bachcho, suppose there is a family having one brother, sister, mother, and father. Being father, the oldest male member in the family, being father, the oldest male member in the family, father will be known as Karta. If suppose the father dies, if suppose the father dies, mother cannot become a Karta. The eldest male member after father will become the Karta, co-partner. This is what all male members are referred to. The Hindu co-partners include the son, grandson, and a great grandson of the holder to the joint family property. By virtue of their birth, they acquire an interest in the property. So, बच्चों, all the male member of family will be known as co-partners, and all the female member of the family will be known as members. Daughter can act as a co-partner. On 9th September 2005, the Hindu Succession Act 1956 was amended to provide that daughter too can act as co-partner, that is, joint hire, like her brother, to the joint family assets. So on 9th September 2005, the Hindu Succession Act 1956 was amended and it provided that a daughter can also be a co-partner like her brother in the joint family asset. Now, if you have a sister, that sister will also have a right to property in the family business. She too could enforce the partition of the family property to claim her individual share. She can also enforce the partition of the family property to claim her individual share. She continues to be the co-partner in her father's HUF even after she gets married and form another HUF with her husband. So, bachcho, even after the daughter can get married, she will be a co-partner in her father's HUF even after she gets married and become member of another HUF. Can there be all female HUF? Yes, there can be. Where a couple has only a daughter and the husband passes away, the daughter and mother duo can continue the HUF. It has been held by Allahabad High Court in CIT versus Swarn Kumar in 13 ITR 361. There can be HUF consisting of all female members. So, bachcho, in a family there is father, mother, and daughter. These all three constitute a HUF. If father dies, then mother and daughter will can also constitute the HUF and can continue the HUF. Can female be a karta? The answer can't be no in the light of amendment in the Hindu Succession Act 2005. A unmarried daughter, in the unfortunate event of her father passing away, will become the karta of the HUF if she has no brother. So, बच्चों, a female member means unmarried daughter, if the father passes away, can become the karta if there is no elder brother. Can it be partitioned? Can HUF be partitioned? Yes, HUF can be partitioned. This is actually a division of property where the share of each member is determined. Any co-partner can enforce the partition of HUF and then the share will be divided between all co-partners. A son in the womb of his mother at the time of partition, mother, wife. Income Tax Act does not recognize partial partition, so there should be complete partition of HUF. But so as per income tax law, there cannot be partial partition. There has to be complete partition of HUF. I'm sharing another PPT with you. Partnership Act 1932. First of all, what is it 1932? It means The Partnership Act came into force in 1932. The Partnership Act came into force in the year 1932. Partnership. Partnership is the relationship between two or more persons who have agreed to share the profit of a business carried on by all or any of them acting for all. So, a partnership is a relationship between two or more persons who have agreed to share the profit of a business carried on by all or any of them acting for all. Suppose Rahul and Aditya they joined hand together that we will form a business of toys. Now Rahul and Aditya become the partners. So बच्चों partnership is a relation between two or more person, but minimum there should be two persons who have agreed to share profit of the business carried on by them. Essential elements of a partnership. Number one, association of two or more persons. I told you that in a partnership there should be minimum 2% and maximum 50%. In a partnership there can be minimum 2% and maximum 50%. Agreement. Existence of agreement is essential for partnership. Section 5 of the Act state that relationship of partnership arise from contract and not from status. Business. Partnership implies business, and when there is no association to carry on business, there is no partnership. The term business is, however, used in the widest sense to cover commerce, occupation, and profession. Sharing of profit. To constitute a partnership, the parties must have agreed to carry on a business and to sharpen profit income. It is open to the partners to agree to share the profit in any way they like. They may agree to share the profit either in specific proportion or in specific sums. Mutual agency. Each partner is both agent and principal to for himself and the other. This is the significance of the phrase carrying on by all or acting any active of them all. So, bachcho, if one partner made a contract with a third party, all the other partners will be liable. Each partner is an agent of the other partner who are his principal, and each partner is a principal who is turned in bound by the act of the other partner who conduct the business of firm not only act for himself but for the other partners also. Partnership deed. But to a partnership is formed by an agreement. This agreement may be in writing or oral. A partnership is formed by an agreement. This agreement may be in writing or oral through the law does not express require that partnership agreement should be in writing. When the contract of partnership is it's in writing, it is form of a document. But so partnership agreement can be oral also, or can be written also. Law does not say anything. Law has left it on you. You can make the partnership agreement oral also or in writing also. So if partnership agreement is in writing, it will become a document. The document which contains the terms of partnership as agreed among the partner is called a partnership deed. So bachcho, the document in which there is all the terms of partnership as agreed among the partners is known as partnership deed. The partnership deed is to be duly stamped as per the Indian Contract Act and duly signed by all the partners. The partnership deed is duly stamped by the Indian Contract and duly signed by all the partners. There should be signature of partners on a partnership deed. The exact term of the partnership deed will depend upon the circumstances, but generally a partnership deed contains the following covenants. Number one, in a partnership deed, what are the important things that are contained in a partnership deed? Number one, the name of the firm and address, the name of the firm and business to be carried on under the name and address of the partners, nature and scope of business and address of business place, Commencement and duration of partnership, capital and the contribution made by each partner, provision for further capital and loan by partner to the firm, partners drawing, interest on capital, loan, drawing and current account, salaries, commission and remuneration to partner, profit or loss sharing ratio of partners. Bookkeeping, the keeping of proper books of accounts, inspection and audit, bank account and their proper operation. The accounting period and the data on which the accounts are to be prepared. Rights, powers and duties of the partner. Whether and in what circumstances notice of retirement or dissolution can be given by a partner. Provision that death or retirement of a partner will not bring about any dissolution of partnership. Valuation of goodwill on retirement, debt disclosure, etc. Method of valuation of asset and liability on retirement or death of any partner. Provision for expulsion of a partner. Provision regarding the allocation of business activity to be performed by individual partner. The attribution clause for the settlement of disputes. Registration of partnership. How your partnership can get registered. The preparing of partnership deed. First of all, you have to prepare the partnership deed. Then all the partners should carefully sign the partnership deed. Then you should put a stamp. You should put a stamp duty on the partnership deed. Each partner will have a copy of deed. You will give each partner one copy of deed. Then you will submit the partnership deed to registrar and get registered with the registrar. Then registrar will issue copy of registration. So, bachcho, first of all, you have to prepare the partnership deed. Then this partnership deed should be signed by all the partners. You have paid the stamp duty. Each partner will have a copy of this partnership deed. Then you will submit all the document along with the partnership deed with the registrar of company. Then the registrar of company will issue a certificate of registration. Effects of non-registration. If you do not register the partnership deed, then what will be the effects? Case between partner and firm. Partner of unregistered firm cannot file case. But just suppose if a third party do a fraud with you, you cannot file a case against him because partner of unregistered firm cannot file case. Case between firm and third parties. No case can be filed by the firm against the third parties. Registered firm cannot claim set off. Kinds of partnership. But so there are two kinds of partnership: partnership at will and particular partnership. What is partnership at will? Or what is particular partnership? Partnership at will. When there is no provision in partnership agreement for the duration of their partnership or the determination of their partnership, then the partnership is called as partnership at will. But so if there is no provision in the partnership deed for how much long your partnership will be, what are the determination of partnership, then the partnership deed will be known as partnership at will. Special feature of partnership at will is that such partnership may be disclosed by any partner by giving a notice in writing to all the other partners with the intention to dissolve the partnership. But so, one of the special feature of partnership at will is any partner who want that this partnership firm should be closed can issue a notice to all the other partners of his intention to dissolve the partnership. And after giving the notice, the partnership firm will be dissolved. The partnership will be dissolved from the date mentioned in the notice as the date of dissolution. And if no date is mentioned, then from the date of communication of notice. But so suppose there are three partners A, B, and C. The partnership is at will. It means there is no provision for duration of partnership, that for how long this partnership will go on. Now C has given a notice to A and B that he want to disclose the partnership. Now that partnership will be disclosed from the date that is written in the notice. And if no date is written in the notice, then it will be dissolved from the date the notice is being issued. Particular partnership. But your particular partnership is when for a specific venture or undertaking or for a particular period, also known as partnership of a fixed term. For example, I am a road constructor. I construct roads. I fill the government tenders. I fill government tenders and I construct the roads. Okay, sir. Now, there was a contract to construct 10 kilometers long road. I filled the tender and I got the contract of constructing 10-kilometer long road. But because of more workload, I hired Mr. B, who is also a road contractor. I made a contract with him that for next 2 years we will be the partner till the time this construction of road get completed. Now we will be the partner till the road construction work is completed. So this partnership is for a particular work. So it is known as particular partnership. Such partnership comes to an end on the completion of venture or expiry of the time period. If such partnership is continued after the expiry of term or completion of venture, it is deemed to be a partnership at will. A particular partnership may be dissolved before the expiry of the term or completion of a venture only by the mutual consent of all the partners. Types of partner. So there are 5 types of partner. Active partner, or you can say actual partner, dormant or sleeping partner, nominal partner, sub partner, partner by holding partner. Active partner, sleeping partner, normal nominal partner, sub partner, partner by holding partner. Active partner. But the active partner is a partner who actively participate in the conduct of the business, who actively participate in take all the decisions regarding the business. Sleeping partner is a partner who does not take part in the conduct of business. Usually, sleeping partners are those partners who have invested their money in the partnership firm on the condition that they will not take active part in the conduct of business, they will just participate in the profit and losses. So active partner is a partner who actively participate in the conduct of business. Sleeping partners are partners who does not take part in the conduct of business. Nominal partner, a partner who lend his name to the firm without any real interest in it. A partner who lend his name to the firm without any real interest in it. For example, I started making a mobile company. I started a mobile company. I make a contract with Apple that I will make the mobile company, but I will use your name. And for that, I have to pay royalty to the Apple. Now, Apple do not have any interest in my company. I am just using the name of Apple. Sub partner. When a partner agreed to share his profit derived from the firm with a third person, a sub partnership may arise. But so if a partner agrees to share his profit derived from a firm with a third person, then a sub partnership may arise. The third person is called as sub partner. Now, last, partner by holding out. One who represents himself to be a partner of the firm, but in reality is not so. A retiring partner does not give public notice of his retirement. Continuing partner still use the name as partner, he would be liable to the third person. So, बच्चों, one who represent himself to be a partner of a firm, but in reality is not a partner of a firm because he get retired and does not give notice of his retirement, then such person will partner will be known as partner by holding. Rights of partner. Partner has a right to take part in the conduct of business, right to be consulted, right to access the books, right to share the profits, right to interest on capital, right to interest on advances, and right to interest or right to identify. Duties of partner. Duty to carry out Duty to carry on the business to the greatest common advantage. Number one, duty to be just and faithful, duty to render true accounts, duty to provide full information, duty to indemnify for loss caused by fraud, duty to be able jointly and severally, duty not to assign persons and interest in that person to third party. Duty to attend diligently to his duties, duty to work without remuneration, duty to contribute to losses, duty to indemnify for willful negligence, duty to use firm profit exclusively for the firm, duty to account for profit, personal profit and drive, duty not to comply with the business of the firm. Liabilities of a partner. Liabilities of a partner for the act of the firm. Liability is unlimited. Creditor may sue all the partner together or separately. But your liabilities of partners are unlimited. If they do not repay the loan, their personal assets can be attached. Wrongful act of a partner, firm is liable to the third party. If any partner do anything wrong, then complete firm will be liable to a third party. Misapplication by partners of money received from the third party. The firm is liable to make good the loss to third party due to misapplication. Advantages of a partnership. Partnership is easy to form. Access to more capital because more number of partner. In a sole proprietor, there is only one owner. So the capital will come from one owner. But in a partnership firm, there can be 50 partners. So more capital will come, more skill and talent because more number of partners. Division of labor, work can be divided because there are more number of partners. Expansion of business, business can be expanded. I am a sole proprietor, it will be difficult for me to expand the business. But if I am in a partnership, it will be simple for me to expand the business. Division of risk, risk is divided among all the partners. Free from legal formalities. Partnership firm is also free from all the legal formalities. As I told you, it is not compulsory that your partnership firm should be in written. It can be oral also. So बच्चों advantages of partnership it is very easy to form, more capital, more people in partnership means more capital, more people in partnership means more skill and talent, more people mean more division of labor and expansion of business. So बच्चों today we have discussed one person partner company, Hindu undivided family and partnership. Thank you everyone for joining. In next class, we are going to start with LLP and we'll do some MCQs. Please everyone take care, stay safe, stay healthy.